All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning and welcome to the OLCC public hearing for the Artificially Derived Cannabinoids CBN Extension Rules Package. My name is Nicole Blase and I am the Rules Coordinator for the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. Today is April 16th at approximately 9:05 a.m. and this public hearing is being held virtually. Please be advised that today's hearing is being recorded. As a courtesy, please keep your phone or computer on mute unless you are presenting testimony today. The purpose of a public hearing is to give interested persons a reasonable opportunity to submit data and/or personal comments prior to the adoption of permanent rulemaking. This morning's hearing is being held in accordance with Chapter 183 of the Oregon Revised Statutes, otherwise known as the Administrative Procedures Act, Division 1 of Chapter 845 of the Commission's Administrative Rules, and Division 1 of Chapter 137 of the Oregon Administrative Rules, otherwise known as the Model Rules of Administrative Procedure. During this morning's hearing, we will accept comments from anyone who wishes to submit them. If you are interested in providing testimony today but have not yet signed up, you may raise your hand in Teams, or if you are calling in, please interject when appropriate. If you wish to submit written comments after today's hearing, as we are still in the public comment period for this rule package, you may do so provided that all submissions are received no later than 12 p.m. on April 30th, 2025. In accordance with OAR 137-001-0040, all public comment received on this matter, whether in the form of written document or oral testimony, will become a part of the permanent rulemaking record. Here is a summary of the proposed rules. In 2021, the Oregon legislature passed House Bill 3000, which gave the OLCC authority to regulate artificially derived cannabinoids within the OLCC licensed adult use market. Because of the potential public health risks of artificially derived cannabinoids, the OLCC adopted OAR 845-025-1310 to set minimum requirements for artificially derived cannabinoids in the adult use cannabis products. These are essentially the same as for the introduction of any new ingredient into a food or dietary supplement. The manufacturer must either make a determination that the artificially derived cannabinoid is generally recognized as safe or submit a new dietary ingredient notification to the FDA for the artificially derived cannabinoid and receive a no objections response. At the same time, the OLCC created a time-limited exemption where CBN did not need to meet these requirements. This was based in part on the relatively lower risk profile of artificially derived CBN. This exemption was originally set to expire on July 1st, 2023. When no artificially derived CBN manufacturer had met the requirements by early 2023, the OLCC extended the deadline 18 months to January 2025, based on input from manufacturers at a rules advisory committee that this would be adequate time to meet the requirements. The rule did not include any allowance for products containing artificially derived CBN to continue to be sold after January 2025, unless they meet their general requirements for artificially derived cannabinoids. At this time, it appears that there are still no artificially derived CBN manufacturers that have met these requirements. Commission staff proposed to extend the deadline for artificially derived CBN to meet the general requirements for artificially derived cannabinoids by 6 months. At this time, we do not have anyone signed up to give testimony at the public hearing today. Is there anybody here today that would like to provide testimony for the record? You can raise your hand in Teams or speak up if you're calling in. All right. As stated in the notice, this hearing will end at 10 o'clock a.m. or 5 minutes after the last oral comment has been recorded into the record. If we do not receive any messages or notices to provide comment today, we will close the meeting. I will keep the meeting open and recording until 9:15, or excuse me, 9:20, 9:25-ish, just to see if there's anyone joining us a little late. And then otherwise, we will close the meeting if no comment has been offered by that time. So I will place myself on mute. Please speak up if you are calling in to provide testimony today, and we'll wait another 10 to 15 minutes to see if we have anyone joining us. Thank you.
I have a suggestion. My name's Tyler
Yes,
Wolford.
Tyler, are you wanting to provide testimony for the record today?
Yes, for the record.
Okay, could you please
Sure.
state your full name and affiliation?
Tyler Wolford. I just work in the hemp and cannabis industry. I have for quite some years. But being that no one has met the requirements, I was going to suggest that potentially the OLCC looks into, being that there is much waste in this industry due to overly produced product, that we look into natural degradation of THC into CBN and potentially storing that at those facilities at some facility, um, you know, overlooked by the OLCC or someone that has a permit of some sort to contract with these farmers, that it is able to not just go to waste and be discarded or potentially backdoored, which is a very common thing, as we all know, in this industry. And so it allows them to prevent taking such direction and potentially causing themselves harm or harm to the public in some way, and providing another option of a more natural way to create the CBN and place it on the market.
Great,
And that's
thank
all I
you
have
for
to say
your,
today.
yeah, thank you for your feedback, Tyler. Anything else?
Welcome. That'll be it for now. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there anyone else who has joined us that would like to provide testimony today for the artificially derived cannabinoids rule package? Feel free to speak up or raise your hand in Teams. All right, we will give it another 10 minutes or so, and then we will close the meeting if no one has requested to submit testimony. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll give it a few more minutes. Hi there. For everybody on the line, this is the OLCC public hearing for artificially derived cannabinoids. We will hold the public hearing open for another 5 minutes or so. Is there anybody who's joined us that would like to provide testimony today for the record? All right, we will keep the meeting open another 5 minutes or so until about 9:20. And if no one has requested to provide testimony, we will conclude the hearing. Thank you, everyone. Another 5 minutes or so. Okay, folks, on the line for the OLCC public hearing for artificially derived CBN. Last call, is there anybody who has joined us that would like to provide public testimony for the record today? All right, it is now approximately 9:20 a.m. and at this time there have been no further requests to submit testimony today, so we are going to conclude the hearing. Please remember that written comments must be received no later than April 30th by 12 p.m. to be considered for the final rulemaking record. If you would like to email us, you may do so at olcc.rulemaking@olcc.oregon.gov. I'll say that again, olcc.rulemaking@olcc.oregon.gov. Thank you, everyone, for your interest and participation today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.